Hello, Western Oregon sports fans, and welcome to this special quarterly recap edition of Wolves Weekly. I'm joined today by the athletic director, Daniel Hare. Daniel, had a pretty exciting couple months since you've been here. This is your first true season on the job, this last fall one, and man, it was just full of excitement in all the sports that we had out here. Talk to me a little bit about what your first experiences was here on the campus of Western Oregon and getting to experience the whole sports season.
Yeah, well, Danny, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here, and getting here in April, I was able to see the tail end of the spring sports seasons, but really after that, it was kind of a whole summer of just not really knowing what we were going to find come fall, and hearing a lot about the guys and girls that were returning and some of the new players on every team. But it was really exciting to finally see everything on the field and in action, and see the fans out at the events, and so really exciting and a great fall.
And we actually have a very unique opportunity here at Western Oregon for this first year. Our fall seasons aren't done. We have a couple teams this weekend. Our men's and women's cross country teams are over competing for a national title over in Louisville.
Yeah, and really that's what, since I got here, I know it's something that we've been talking about is championships, and which both means conference and national championships. And so for us to be both men and women out in Kentucky this weekend at the D2 National Festival, where a lot of championships are being decided, but to have our teams represented there, representing Western Oregon, I just couldn't be prouder of what they've accomplished, and they got better and better and better throughout the year, and just put it together at the right time to make that push in to qualify for the national meet. So we're just excited for all of them.
And as Daniel mentioned right there, the cross country teams made a real push. Both the men's and women's teams finished third at the conference meet, and then the men's team finished fourth at the regional, while the women finished fifth. The West region sent 4 men's teams and 6 women's teams. So the teams really earned their spot to go there, competing against 22 other teams at the region.
They absolutely did. I mean, it wasn't anything that was given to them. I mean, they really had to work and earn every inch that they got, and they definitely deserve to be there because they worked for it.
And it's a very likable team. You really hope for all those individuals because they are such a good team, as well as Western Oregon University. You always hear about cross country and you think of a lot of it as individual sport, but it really is a team sport that's brought together with individual scores on that one. So yeah. I would just like to hear a little bit about kind of the team aspect, and that's kind of what you're trying to establish here at Western Oregon University as a whole, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think in any sport, especially like cross country, where on one particular day you may have one runner not run their best meet and have another one run the best meet of their career, and that's what you need to have happen in order to be successful as a team in a cross country competition. And I think that happened throughout the year, but as we were talking about, by the end of the year, everybody was running at their best, which they needed to do in order to qualify for that national meet. And so it's really neat, though, to see the runners, pick each other up throughout the year. And when one is down, one's up, and really, I think that encourages everyone to continue to fight and get better, and come back the next time and run a better meet. And so I think that's happened throughout the year. They've supported each other. Coach Johnson has them running, as well as they can right now. And so we're just so excited to see what's going to happen. And once you make it, my high school coach always told me you got to be good to get there and lucky to win. And so we're good. We got there, and now let's see if we can get a little lucky and pull it out. So.
And this is the first opportunity Western Oregon has ever had at the D2 level to compete for a national title. So you came in at the right time. Pretty exciting time for you, and great first step.
Yeah.
Western Oregon also had a couple other unique opportunities in a couple other sports this year. Our football team, their season came down to the last game of the year for a chance to tie for a conference title, something that's never happened here before. Right. Talk to me a little bit about just that football season and the excitement that went along with that.
Well, yeah, and it was certainly an up and down season, and one that each week you were going into the game very hopeful of what you were going to see, and a lot of times it did actually pay off. And you talk about we get down to the last week, which if you're playing for a conference championship, the last game of the season, what more can you ask for? And playing against the team that you're trying to fight against for the top of the conference, and that's where we were. We came up short up in Ellensburg, but definitely we are making progress, and I have no doubt we're going to hop over them here in the near future to come up on top of Central Washington going forward.
And as you've seen, the football team finished the season with a 7-4 record overall and a 5-3 record in the GNAC. Both pretty impressive stats. You always want to be above 500, and that was great to see, especially that push at the end of the year after they were 500.
Absolutely, and I think probably the game actually that stands out the most for me is going down to Humboldt in a tough environment. You know, to go and get that win after they'd come in and beaten us here at home in a game we felt like, I know, you know, that we probably gave away in some respects, probably one we could have gotten, should have gotten, but to go down and take it back in essence and go on the road and win against a big crowd and one where we had to have it to stay alive in the conference race. You know, I just thought that was a great atmosphere down there and a great a win for our program. You know, a game that on paper maybe we would have been underdogs, but it didn't matter. We just went down there and took care of business, and the right people stepped up at the right time, and we got the win. So put us in that position to be playing for the conference title at the end of the year.
And I know people always look back and you're always going to remember a season based on the wins and losses that year. But to me, one of the biggest standouts this year is how well this football team achieved in the classroom. The conference handed out 31 academic all-conference awards. Western Oregon collected 15 of those. Yeah,
and that's something that, you know, especially the Division II level, Danny, I think is really important that we emphasize is that they really are students first in the student athlete, you know, label, and that's just not something that we throw around as kind of just something that's not important. I mean, that's something that we take very seriously. And so for the football team to not only achieve on the field, but then to get that kind of recognition for their academic performance is outstanding. And so I couldn't be prouder of the way they performed academically this year.
And the conference also recognized Western Oregon for their performance on the field. They were able to collect 15 all-conference performers, as well as Caleb Singleton, who was named co-defensive player of the year. Caleb had an outstanding season. I mean, he was all over the field, interceptions. I think he was second leading tackle on the team. He was outstanding. Talk to me a little bit about first year, just some of the guys you got to see on the field and some of the excitement that you get to see by watching our student athletes compete.
Yeah, well, I mean, you talk about the defense, and obviously Caleb was the leader of the defense, which was, as I looked back on the national statistics, we ranked in the top 30 in the country in about 5 different major defensive statistical categories, including in the top 6 in 2 of them. And so, you know, that's just a testament to what these guys did day in and day out, working through the summer and then through the season. And Caleb was obviously spectacular, always, you know, taking on the best offensive players for the other team and kind of responsible for always firing up the defense, and he certainly did that. As well as anytime you can get turnovers and make plays in the secondary, it just is such a momentum shift for your team, and he did that throughout the year, and so it was really important to have that presence. And you know, we'll see where his career lies ahead. I think he has a bright future in whatever he chooses to do, but I think he definitely has a chance to play at the next level as well. So exciting to have him. You know, hate to lose him, but that's what happens here at a university setting. But really proud of what he accomplished in his career and this year.
Well, I'd like to transition a little bit then to our volleyball team, who also had a very exciting year throughout the season. We started the year off hosting that home tournament, jumped right into GNAC season. We came out with 2 seniors and basically all the rest being sophomores and freshmen. Put together a fantastic season. Tell me a little about your impressions of that volleyball team and what they brought to Western Oregon.
Well, I think probably one of the most exciting things we had this year, this fall, that stood out to me was the first probably week of school being back, or the kids being back in orientation week, and walking into the gym for a volleyball match and seeing the other side of the gym just packed with students there in a match, I think against Seattle Pacific, if I'm not mistaken, and just the energy in the building, it just felt like it was an electric atmosphere, and we had that throughout the year for our volleyball home matches. And so I really want to commend our fans and our students for coming out and supporting the volleyball program. You know, they had a tough, you know, start to the year with Sylvia Harrell going down to an injury, but you know, they didn't let that get them down. And I think that's something that we all need to kind of take note of, is that, you know, in sports especially, things aren't always going to go your way and you're going to have injuries, but it's how the rest of the team steps up and fills in those gaps that's important, and how you continue to improve and get better. And that's what the volleyball team did. I mean, they just took that and ran with it. They got better, and each game that we played, especially at home, you know, the excitement in the gym, what felt like a playoff postseason match, especially towards the end of the year as we played some of those key matches. Central Washington at the end stands out in particular. And so it was just a fantastic volleyball season and really exciting. And as you mentioned, just a couple of seniors and everyone else returned. So a bright future ahead for this program.
Like you said, a lot of optimism going with that one. The Sylvia Harrell injury might have been a little bit blessing in disguise. They were able to build a little bit better depth, and I can't wait to see them back out on the court this next year. The
Absolutely.
Wolves ended this volleyball season with a 14-9 record and a 12-6 record in the conference. Both very impressive marks, especially considering, like we talked about, 2 seniors, sophomores, and freshmen. It gives you a lot to look forward to there in the future. And this team, although the number doesn't sound that high, 75% of their student athletes that were eligible to win a conference academic award did. That was led by Samantha Ward, Danielle Reese, and Jordan Burroughs, who actually won it for the 3rd straight time.
Yeah, and I think like our football program, I think we strive to be champions, not just on the field or on the court, but in the classroom. And so to continue to put athletic success with academic success is something I'm really proud of. And I actually do think they go hand in hand. I think when people are committed to what they do, no matter what it is, they're more likely to be successful in other things that they do. And so I think the more that we're successful in the classroom, the more it'll lead to the discipline and focus, concentration that's required to be successful athletically, and vice versa. And so I'm just really proud of those student athletes and what they accomplished.
Well, let's make one more shift over to soccer then, which also had 9 student athletes earn GNAC All-Academic honors.
Right.
As you say, right there, it's a commitment that they have to make both to their time on the field, but then in the classroom. It's not an easy thing to do with travel and everything else.
It's really not. You mentioned, yeah, soccer had, as well as football and volleyball, had a number of academic accolades this year. And you're right. I mean, the commitment that these student athletes make to the time commitment they have to make and managing their time to be successful in both the classroom and on the field or on the court is just, I have so much respect for them and what they do because it takes a tremendous amount of time management. You know, it's stressful all the time. And so there's a lot of pressure there, and just to watch them be able to come out the other side of it stronger, better people, and we'll send them out to be, you know, whatever they're going to be in their career and in life, I think stronger people as well. So we're really excited about all that.
And I made the mistake of forgetting to bring up cross-country all-academic team. The cross-country team put 9 on the GNAC all-academic team. Justin Carr is actually the top academic performer in the conference with a 3.99 GPA. So we didn't want to forget those because, as we mentioned, we're looking for that balance between successful athletes and those successful students. That's why they're called student athletes. And
it's great to have so many of them that you can forget about some that finished at the top. No, and that's great. I mean, to have so many achieving academically is fun. It's fantastic.
And we really have exciting student athletes out here in all Western Oregon sports. This might be the quarterly recap with Daniel Hare here for the fall, but we're jumping right into our winter seasons. Basketball's already played. Men's team has played 6 games. Women's team's 5 games. We have a whole home slate of home contests this weekend. There are tickets still available. You can do it by going to purchase them at the door or by calling the number on the screen, 503-838-8449, to get your basketball tickets, either season passes or single game tickets. So, Daniel, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us and helping us recap the winter sports, or the fall sports, I'm sorry.
Thanks for having me, Danny. I appreciate it.
And thank you all for joining us on this edition of Wolves Weekly.